The man who made all of America laugh was found dead in a Hollywood bungalow at only 33. And he was not the only shadow behind Animal House. This movie once sold us a very male dream: college friends breaking rules, partying, and nobody really having to pay the price. But in real life, tragedy swallowed the cast. John Belushi died young. Douglas Kenney also died at 33 after a fall in Hawaii. Stephen Furst fought diabetes from his teenage years. But this is not just a sad list. Some people survived. Some rebuilt their lives, some left the spotlight, and some were followed by their own roles for decades. Today we're looking back at 13 faces from Animal House. Get ready, because the movie that once made us laugh has a much darker side than many people remember. Number 1, John Belushi as John Bluto Blutarski. Let's start with Bluto, America's biggest rule-breaking college guy, and John Belushi, the man who never got the chance to grow old. John Adam Belushi was born in 1949 in Chicago, the oldest son in a family of Albanian roots. His father owned a restaurant, and his mother worked in pharmaceuticals. Before becoming one of the most explosive comedy faces in America, Belushi played football in high school, was voted homecoming king, then moved into improv comedy at Second City. There he met Dan Aykroyd, the man who would later create the Blues Brothers with him. In Animal House, Belushi played John Bluto Blutarski, symbolically a lead role, even though the character does not have as many lines as audiences often remember. When the movie came out in 1978, Belushi was 29. By then, he was already famous from Saturday Night Live, but Bluto took him into a different kind of fame. What is worth saying is that Belushi did not get too much from that explosion. He was paid around $35,000 for the role with no share of the box office. While shooting in Oregon, he also had to fly back to New York to do Saturday Night Live, then return to the set. Tim Matheson said Belushi was clean on the Animal House set, and John Landis tried to keep the set away from drugs because he knew Belushi already had problems with stimulants. Belushi married Judy Jacklin in 1976. Maybe that was happiness, but fame got too big too fast, and Hollywood in the late 70s was not an easy place to save someone who was sliding downhill. Drugs started pulling him down to the point that they caused professional fallout, including being temporarily banned from Saturday Night Live. In late February of 1982, Belushi arrived at Chateau Marmont in Bungalow No. 3 while working on the script Noble Rot. Judy did not come with him because she knew Los Angeles was a place where he had trouble keeping control. On his final night, Robin Williams and Robert De Niro stopped by. Kathy Smith was with him for most of that night. Around noon, on March 5, 1982, trainer Bill Wallace found Belushi unresponsive. The official cause was acute intoxication from cocaine and heroin. Smith later pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter and charges related to supplying and injecting drugs. Belushi died at 33. Even his grave was once turned by fans into a place to leave liquor, beer, cigarettes, and marijuana, to the point that his family had to move his body to an unmarked location. And that is only the first sad note on today's list. Number 2, Stephen Furst as Kent Flounder Dorfman. Stephen Furst only played a supporting role in Animal House, but his life left behind a sadness much bigger than many lead roles. He was Kent Flounder Dorfman, the gentle Delta House freshman who made audiences laugh with a very real kind of awkwardness. Born in 1954 as Stephen Nelson Feuerstein, Furst was 24 when the movie came out in 1978. Furst was not discovered at a fancy party or in some big casting office. He was discovered through a pizza box. While delivering pizza in Los Angeles, he secretly put his headshot and acting resume inside the boxes. One box reached someone connected to the movie crew, and the story goes that his photo even had cheese and marinara sauce stuck to it. After Animal House, Furst did not become an A-list star, but he worked much longer than many people realize. He returned in Delta House, then played Dr. Elliot Axelrod in Saint Elsewhere, Vir Cotto in Babylon 5, and later directed, produced, did voice work, and made films with his two sons Nathan and Griffith. His wife Lorraine, whom he met in college, also had a small role in Animal House. But very early on, Furst's life was marked by illness. When he was 16, his father and mother died only weeks apart. Not long after, he learned that he himself had type 2 diabetes. By 17, he was already living with a disease that had haunted his whole family. For many years afterward, he did not face it. At one point, Furst weighed around 320 pounds, had to take medication, then insulin, while his eyes and the nerves in his feet started paying the price. By about 40, a wound on his foot became so badly infected that doctors said they might have to amputate the foot. And the thing that chills me is that even while lying in the hospital, Furst still ordered Chinese food to his room. A nurse had to confiscate the food, then take away his phone too. After that, Furst finally fought the disease seriously. He lost more than 100 pounds, wrote Confessions of a Couch Potato, and used his own story to warn other people about diabetes. Stephen Furst died in 2017 in Moorpark, California at age 63 from complications of diabetes. His family did not ask the audience for pity. They only asked us to watch his movies again, remember a joke, and make someone laugh really hard. Number 3, Douglas Kenney as Stork. The next person appears for only a few moments in Animal House. Douglas Clark Francis Kenney was born in 1946. When Animal House came out in 1978, he was 32. On-screen, Kenney played Stork, a very small Delta House role. The role was small, but his real part was huge. Kenney co-wrote Animal House with Chris Miller and Harold Ramis. Before that, he studied at Harvard, wrote for Harvard Lampoon, then co-founded National Lampoon in 1970. If Belushi was the face of the movie, Kenney was one of the brains that brought the irreverent, messy, authority-mocking comedy voice of the 70s to the screen. After the success of Animal House, Kenney went on to co-write and produce Caddyshack. Today, many American men see Caddyshack as a classic that does not need anyone's permission. But when it first came out in 1980, critics were not gentle with it. For Kenney, that was not just a few bad reviews. It hit straight at the pride of a man who had spent his life trying to prove that his kind of comedy had value. Kenney's final period was covered in pressure drugs and professional insecurity. His longtime girlfriend, Catherine Walker, once said he had been damaged by the amount of drugs he had taken. Chevy Chase took Kenney to Hawaii, hoping the trip would help him calm down. Chase left because of work. Catherine came too, then left. After that, Kenney went to Kauai alone. On August 27, 1980, he fell from Hanapepe Lookout. His body was found a few days later. Police concluded it was an accident, but many questions still surrounded that death. Later, people retold the story of the shoes near the edge of the cliff, the words, "I love you" on the bathroom mirror, and the chilling line, "These are some of the happiest days I've ever ignored." Douglas Kenney died at 33. He did not live long enough to see Caddyshack loved again, did not get a middle age where he could sit and tell National Lampoon stories, and never had the chance to see the very chaos he created become a legacy. Later, his life was revisited through the book and movie A Futile and Stupid Gesture. But Animal House still has another sad story, this time belonging to a bigger, more famous face, and one that is also regretful in its own way. Number 4, Donald Sutherland as Professor Dave Jennings. The next man did not die young, and he did not disappear, but he may have missed out on one of the most painful paydays in American comedy history. Donald Sutherland was born in 1935 in Canada. When Animal House came out in 1978, he was 43, playing the supporting role Professor Dave Jennings, a marijuana-smoking, disillusioned English professor who does not appear much but is very hard to forget. The special thing is that Sutherland did not need Animal House to become famous. He already had The Dirty Dozen MASH, Kelly's Heroes Clute, and Don't Look Now. In 70s Hollywood, he was already a truly major face, so he was chosen to drop into a few scenes, but those few scenes helped get the movie greenlit. Then came the decision he was probably asked about for the rest of his life. Sutherland chose around $35,000 up front instead of taking a percentage of the gross. The movie made more than $141 million on a budget of around $3 million. Later, the money he missed out on was often estimated at around $14 million. That is not a tragedy like Belushi or Kenney. It is a very male kind of regret, one signature at the wrong moment. Then years later, all you can do is laugh it off. Off-screen Sutherland was also not a star who stood outside the times. He was tied to the anti-war spirit of MASH, and with Jane Fonda founded Free Theater Associates in 1971 to perform near military bases during the Vietnam War. Later, declassified documents showed that he was on an NSA watch list from 1971 to 1973. His private life was also long and full of chapters. Sutherland married 3 times and had 5 children, including Kiefer. Sutherland. With Francine Racette, he was together from 1972 until the end of his life. His career was not smooth either. The play Lolita in 1981 was heavily criticized and closed very quickly. He was never nominated for a competitive Oscar, though he finally received an honorary Oscar in 2017. Then, in old age, a new generation came to know him as President Snow in the Hunger Games. Donald Sutherland died in 2024 in Miami after a long illness at age 88. Kiefer said his father loved what he did and did what he loved. In Animal House, he was only the professor passing through a few scenes. In Hollywood, he passed through more than half a century and left behind a working life that did not need an Oscar nomination to prove its worth. Number 5, Verna Bloom as Marion Wormer. Some actors are not forgotten, they are just remembered wrong. Verna Bloom is one of them. Born in 1938 in Lynn, Massachusetts, Bloom was 40 when Animal House came out in 1978. She played Marion Wormer, the wife of Dean Vernon Wormer, a noticeable supporting role, but not one with much screen time. But Verna Bloom did not enter movies as a light comic face. She graduated from Boston University in 1959, worked in theater, and appeared on Broadway in Marat/Seda, a play heavy with politics and psychology. In 1969, she made her film debut with Medium Cool, a movie that placed her character in Chicago in 1968, amid protests, media, and an America stretched tight. That role brought her critical attention. So if we only remember Bloom as Marion Wormer, we have missed almost the full range of who she was. She starred in High Plains Drifter with Clint Eastwood, appeared in Martin Scorsese's After Hours, then played Mary, the mother of Jesus, in The Last Temptation of Christ. From Dean Wormer's wife in a college comedy to Mary in a Scorsese film that is not the path of an ordinary supporting actor. Her private life was not as loud as many people on this list. She was once married to Richard Collier, then divorced. In 1972, she married Jay Cox, a film critic and screenwriter who stayed with her until the end. They had one son, Sam. Verna Bloom died in 2019 in Bar Harbor, Maine at age 80 from complications related to dementia. For an actor, that disease sounds especially cruel. Their whole life is built on memory lines, timing, and then in the end, memory is the thing that leaves first. Among the sad fates of Animal House, Verna Bloom did not leave with a big explosion. She faded more quietly, more slowly, but no less painfully. And after her, the story starts to move toward faces who were not completely swallowed by tragedy, even though their lives still had some very strange turns. Number 6, Sarah Holcomb as Clarette DePasto. Some people leave Hollywood through scandal. Sarah Holcomb left through silence. Born in 1958 in Weston, Connecticut, Holcomb was about 20 when Animal House came out in 1978. She played Clarette DePasto, the daughter of Mayor Carmine DePasto. It is a supporting role, but it sits inside one of the movie's most sensitive storylines. Pinto meets Clarette at the store, invites her to the toga party, then later takes her home in a shopping cart after she has passed out. In 1978, a lot of audiences laughed at that scene. Today, not everyone laughs the same way. The strange thing is that Holcomb appeared very quickly, then disappeared just as quickly. Animal House was her film debut. After that, she had Walk Proud, Happy Birthday Gemini, and especially Caddyshack, where she played Maggie O'Hooligan. For many actors, just one of either Animal House or Caddyshack would be enough to be remembered for life. Holcomb had both in just a few years. Then Caddyshack in 1980 became her final movie. The exact circumstances that made her leave Hollywood are still unclear. What has been said is that the environment at the time was too fast with too much partying, too many drugs, and Holcomb was still very young. Chris Miller, the co-writer of Animal House, once said she fell in with a bad group of people. Her brother David also said she went down a road she did not want to go down. Years later, Michael A. Smith, while writing about Jaws, too tried to interview Holcomb. David passed along the invitation, but Sarah declined. Later stories tried to explain her disappearance through mental health, and some people connected that story to the movie Stateside, but Sarah Holcomb chose a private life and stayed away from the public. Number 7, Mark Metcalf as Doug Niedermeyer. Mark Metcalf did not disappear from Hollywood. In a way, he had an even bigger problem. Hollywood remembered him too clearly. Born in 1946 in Ohio, Metcalf was 32 when Animal House came out in 1978. He played Doug Niedermeyer, the supporting villain from Omega House and ROTC. After Niedermeyer, Metcalf continued to be remembered as the angry, powerful, order-giving kind of man. He appeared in Twisted Sister music videos as an authoritarian father, then later as the maestro in Seinfeld, The Master, in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and many other television roles. Those roles helped him live on in pop culture memory, but they also reinforced the box he once wanted to escape. Metcalf's private life does not have one big scandal to tell. His story is a quieter kind of career difficulty. He once said there were moments of despair because the work did not ask of him what he felt he could give. In 2000, he left Hollywood to spend time with his son Julius, who was diagnosed with Asperger's. After that, Metcalf lived a different life in Milwaukee, once owned a restaurant, and was still recognized by fans because of Niedermeyer and the Maestro. This year, he is 80. Niedermeyer is the man who orders other people to get in line. Mark Metcalf spent years trying to escape the very line Hollywood had put him in. Number 8, Kevin Bacon as Chip Diller. Kevin Bacon started in Animal House as a background face swallowed by the crowd. Then in real life, he became the man almost all of Hollywood can be connected to. Born in 1958 in Philadelphia, Bacon was 20 when Animal House came out in 1978. This year, Kevin Bacon is 68. He played Chip Diller, a supporting role from the Omega House side, and this was his first theatrical screen role. After Animal House, Bacon did not become famous right away. He had to move step by step from Diner in 1982 to Footloose in 1984. But Footloose itself bothered him for a while because Bacon wanted to be seen as a serious actor, not just a pop star face. Even the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game made him uncomfortable at first before he accepted it and founded 6degrees.org in 2007 to turn the idea of connection into charity work. The biggest real-life blow came from Bernie Madoff. Bacon and his wife, Kira Sedgwick, lost most of their money in that fraud scheme. They have been married since 1988, have 2 children, Travis and Sosie, and instead of letting that financial hit destroy the family, Bacon kept working, acting in movies, doing television, playing music with the Bacon brothers, and living with more balance. Number 9, Dewayne Jessie as Otis Day. Born in 1951 in Los Angeles, Jessie was 27 when Animal House came out in 1978. He played Otis Day, the musical supporting role lead singer of the fictional band Otis Day and the Knights. If you have ever seen the toga party scene, you remember that moment right away. The lights, the crowd, shout shamalama, ding dong, and the excited call, Otis my man. After the movie, Jessie did something very smart. He bought the rights to use the name Otis Day and the Knights from Universal, then formed a real band in real life. From a fictional group in a few minutes of film, Otis Day and the Knights started performing on campuses at alumni parties, nostalgia events, and Animal House screenings. In 1987, the group had the concert video, Otis My Man. In 1989, they released the album Shout, produced by George Clinton. Jessie still had other roles, but Otis Day was the name the public held on to. The good thing is that he did not fight it. He accepted the fact that audiences called him Otis, then turned their memory into a real stage, real crowds, and real ticket money. He once admitted Otis Day had taken over the performing part of his life, but when the bills came, the person who had to pay them was still Dewayne Jessie. This year he is 75. Some people get trapped by a role. Dewayne Jessie did something smarter. He grabbed that rope, tied it to a stage, and made a living from the very memory audiences did not want to let go. Number 10. Tim Matheson as Eric Otter Stratton. The man who played Delta House's smoothest player also lived through a Hollywood full of cocaine, sex, and young deaths, except Tim Matheson lived long enough to tell the story. Born in 1947 in Glendale, California, Matheson was 31 when Animal House came out in 1978. He played Eric Otter Stratton, a lead role in the Delta House group. Otter is smooth-talking, confident, charming, the kind of man who walks into a room and makes other people think everything is still under his control. But Matheson was not a new actor. He had been doing television since he was 13, had appeared in Leave It to Beaver, voiced Johnny Quest, acted in Yours, Mine, and Ours with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda, then served in the Marine Corps Reserve starting in 1968. In 2024, Matheson released the memoir Damn Glad to Meet You, looking back on 7 decades in Hollywood. He said he was lucky he did not become a serious cocaine addict during the 70s and early 80s. That sounds like a light sentence, but next to Belushi, it is not light at all. Matheson also told very loose romantic stories in the memoir, including a day before his 33rd birthday when he slept with 3 women, including Kirstie Alley, while his girlfriend was in New York. It says a lot about a Hollywood era that treated temptation as everyday life. But what makes Matheson worth listening to is that he does not tell it like a man bragging about trophies. He tells it like a survivor. On the Animal House set, he remembers John Belushi as clean, friendly, and professional. When he saw Belushi again on 1941, he saw that his co-star had declined. Belushi's death in 1982 turned Matheson into one of the people left behind to talk about that party from real memory. After Animal House, Matheson was not swallowed by otter. He was nominated for 2 Emmys for The West Wing, acted in Heart of Dixie Virgin River, directed Married 3 Times, had 3 children, and in 1989 he and Daniel Grodnick bought control of National Lampoon. This year Tim Matheson is 79. He is still working, still telling stories, and in 2026 he is even hosting an Animal House reunion. Number 11. Tom Hulce as Larry Pinto Kroger. Tom Hulce once stood just 1 step away from the Oscar statue, then almost turned his back on the screen as if Hollywood was no longer interesting enough. Born in 1953 in Detroit, Hulce was 25 when Animal House came out in 1978. This year, Tom Hulce is 73. He played Larry Pinto Kroger, a major supporting role in the Delta House group. Pinto is one of the freshmen who leads the audience into the chaotic world of Faber College. He does not blow up the room like Bluto, and he does not talk smooth like Otter. Pinto is the guy swept up by the party, and because of that, the audience can easily go with him. Before Animal House, Hulce already had a serious theater background. He had acted in Equus with Anthony Hopkins, then slowly moved into film. After Pinto, the real explosion came in 1984 when he played Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in Amadeus. The movie won 8 Oscars, including Best Picture, and Hulce was nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars in 1985. In the Animal House cast, not many people had a career jump like that from a naive Delta kid to the center of a major award-winning movie. He also had Parenthood Dominic and Eugene the Heidi Chronicles and voiced Quasimodo in Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. For the Heidi Chronicles, he won an Emmy. On stage, he was also nominated for a Tony for A Few Good Men. Then Hulce did something very few actors managed to do. He stepped away from the screen without turning it into a collapse. The Los Angeles Times once wrote that he decided he had had enough of acting life. Hulce said living a fiction was no longer as appealing as before, and he was more interested in the whole process of storytelling. He moved into theater directing and producing. At first, some people doubted whether he was truly serious about being a producer. In 2007, the answer came very clearly. He won a Tony as a producer of Spring Awakening. After that, he continued with American Idiot and Ain't Too Proud. Number 12. Karen Allen as Katie Karen Allen was once the kind of woman men never forgot on screen. Then she did something very un-Hollywood. She left the lights to weave a different life for herself. Born in 1951, Allen was 27 when Animal House came out in 1978. She played Katie, an important female supporting role, and Boone's girlfriend. This was also her movie debut. In a film full of loud, rule-breaking men who refuse to grow up, Katie brings a little sanity into the story. She looks at Delta House with the eyes of a woman tired of childish games, and that is what makes the character feel more real than many female supporting roles from the same time. The success of Animal House opened doors for Allen very quickly. After that, she had The Wanderers, a small circle of friends. Cruising then, in 1981, became Marion Ravenwood in Raiders of the Lost Ark. For many men who grew up with American movies in the 80s, Marion was not just Indiana Jones's old flame. She was the kind of woman who could outdrink men in a bar, then punch the hero straight in the face when he deserved it. Allen continued with starman The Glass Menagerie Scrooged, but her life did not follow a straight Hollywood actress path. In 1988, she married actor Cale Brown. They had a son, Nicholas, in 1990, then divorced after about 9 years. Allen became a single mother while her film career slowed down. After the shock of 9/11, she left Manhattan and moved to the Berkshires. There, Allen opened Karen Allen Fiber Arts. In 2004, became a textile artist, designed woven pieces, continued theater directed, and taught. She still returned to audiences when needed, including as Marion Ravenwood in Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny in 2023. This year, Karen Allen is 75. She did not disappear. She simply chose a rhythm of life that does not need Hollywood to clap for her every day. And after her, the list has one man left who also took a quieter road, not the loudest one, but maybe one of the most durable people to come out of Delta House. Number 13, Peter Riegert as Donald Boone Schoenstein. After all the young death's disappearances and strange turns, Peter Riegert is the quieter kind of ending. A man who did not explode, just stayed with the work. Born in 1947 in the Bronx, New York, Riegert was 31 when Animal House came out in 1978. He played Donald Boone Schoenstein, a major supporting role in Delta House Otter's best friend and Katie's boyfriend. Boone is not the loudest person in the group, but the Boone and Katie storyline gives Delta House a more real piece of life love, jealousy, disappointment, and the kind of young man who has not learned to grow up, something many of us have seen too clearly. The movie even makes a quick joke about their future. Boone and Katie get married in 1964, then divorce in 1969. It sounds funny, but it also fits the spirit of Animal House. After the party, real life always comes back to settle the bill. Riegert did not come from a frat boy image. Before Animal House, he was a New York stage actor and had acted in David Mamet's Sexual Perversity in Chicago at Cherry Lane Theater. He also dated Bette Midler for many years, but did not turn his private life into a public performance. Riegert always seems like the kind of actor who cares more about the role than the spotlight. After the movie, he did not become a mainstream star like Kevin Bacon, but his career is very solid. He had local hero Crossing Delancey, The Mask Traffic, then appeared in The Sopranos Damages, The Good Wife. He is the kind of face you meet again and again, and believe right away, even though he does not need to take over the whole poster. Riegert also went further than acting. In 2000, he directed the short film By Courier, which was nominated for the Oscar for Best Live Action Short Film. After that, he wrote, directed, and acted in King of the Corner. This year, Peter Riegert is 79. Boone reminds us that after the party, everyone eventually has to step out into the daylight. Peter Riegert did that in the least noisy way. He did not run from Animal House, did not get swallowed by it. Just kept working long enough for the endurance itself to become the final answer. The strange thing about movies is that the party on screen never gets old. Bluto is still yelling. Toga Flounder is still panicking. Otter is still smiling like everything is under his control, and the parade at the end is still charging forward as if tomorrow does not exist. But in real life, every party eventually turns off the lights. John Belushi did not live past 33. Douglas Kenney also left at 33. Stephen Furst was caught by the disease he had carried his whole life. Verna Bloom slowly faded because of dementia. Sarah Holcomb chose silence. Donald Sutherland lived long enough to become a legend, but still carried very human regrets. And people like Tim Matheson, Tom Hulce, Karen Allen, and Peter Riegert remind us that surviving can sometimes be its own kind of victory. Animal House once made America laugh because youth seemed to have no consequences. But looking back at the cast today, we see that real life always has consequences. They just arrive later than the laughter. If any story on this list made you go quiet the most, leave a comment. And if you want to keep digging into the secrets, losses, and strange turns behind classic movies, subscribe to Weird Movie Secrets.